Why are you such a drag? Why are you such an old man, boring ass drag? Welcome to Flight Ringer's Super Talk. I'm David King, and that's Dan Spottswood.
Hi.
We're looking at the letters page of Adventure Comics 304. To Smallville Mail Sack.
Small mail sack. Getting there. I forgot to ask you about Super Turtle. Is that the same Super Turtle that's in the Zoo Crew?
I don't think there is a I've never read Zoo Crew, but I don't think that Super Turtle is in the Zoo Crew. There is this turtle guy, but isn't he like a super speedster like the Flash?
Yeah, Fastback is his name, right?
No, Fastback's like a New Gods guy, isn't he?
I think there's two Fastbacks.
Oh, okay.
Fastback 1 and Fastback 2.
No, okay. I mean, that's probably it. I never have read.
He's a legacy character.
Zoo Crew. Okay. Linda Emick, DeQuincy, Louisiana. Dear editor, I enjoyed the story The Secret Origin of Bouncing Boy very much. I would like to know if the various Legionnaires have secret identities like Superboy. Can you tell me who is the official leader of this super club? And the editor says the Legionnaires do not have any secret identities with the exception of Superboy and Supergirl. They operate in the open. As to who is their leader, see the story in this issue.
So does that mean is this the first election?
It could be.
It may well be.
Like they only became the regular feature in issue 300 4 issues ago.
Mm-hmm.
And prior to that, maybe they never said, or it was just somebody different every time.
I think Cosmic Boy is acknowledged as the leader somewhere in those early issues.
There's only a handful of appearances, right? Like there's Adventure 247, Adventure 267, Action 267, and then maybe some kind of oddball appearances here and there, and Superman.
There's like a dozen, maybe.
Is there that many?
I think there's a fair amount before you get to 300.
You know what? I
can tell you. I'm counting 13, but
what year was Adventure 300? It's
1962.
Mm-hmm. Okay, yeah. So we got Action 285, 276, and 267 as is stories prior to issue 300, probably.
Mm-hmm.
And we got Adventure 247, 267, 282. Oh yeah, there's kind of a bunch, huh?
Yeah.
And then what some kind of Jimmy Olsen stuff or something. Nah, probably not any Jimmy Olsen's prior to Adventure 300.
Yeah, we got
Superboy.
Right. There's a Superman in there. Maybe you could split hairs whether the Superman one counts or not, but it's the first appearance of the Legion of Supervillains, and I think the adult Legionnaires show up in that too.
Right.
Is that listed?
Yeah. Superman 147, Legion of Supervillains.
Right.
And this shows Superman 149, The Death of Superman.
Oh.
Maybe they show up at his funeral or something.
I don't count that. No. That's not included in the showcase or anything. Yeah, exactly. It's a brief cameo. They have a ton of cameos.
Yeah.
Yeah, I saw that the one completist list, I think on the Legion publication guide, mentioned every issue where Superman or Superboy walked by a statue of one of them.
Right.
His headquarters or something.
Or if they mention that they own a flight ring or something like that.
Right,
That's
right.
a Legion thing. But yeah, it's I don't know if they identified a leader in any of that stuff.
Yeah, I guess it could have been retroactive, but I read somewhere that Cosmic Boy was the first leader.
Yeah, that could have been part of that Origin of the Legion story from Superboy 147 where they say he was the leader or something. I just don't know.
It's hard to imagine a leader for a 3-person team. It's like a couple and you're like, I'm the leader. Like my wife does.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's like this, where you're the leader.
You're the leader. I'm the sidekick.
Okay. Whatever you say, boss. The next one, Ronald Berglund of Minneapolis, Minnesota. You show Bouncing Boy buying a bottle of soda pop, which costs 50 cents. Isn't that kind of expensive?
That one is great.
Any idea what a bottle of soda pop costs now? It's like $1.25 or something, right?
Yeah, I mean, once in a great while, you might find a vending machine that has a can of pop for 50 cents, but usually it's off-brand pop, I think. My work in the break room, I think we only have to pay 50 cents for Coke, but that's poison.
Can of Coke.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like in the checkout line at Target or whatever, it's the bottle. It's like the 20-ounce bottle, right? They must still have vending machines of cans, but I never see them. I don't know where those are at. Outside of 7-Eleven or something?
I think the cans are up to like 75 cents.
Wow.
Maybe $1. And then the 20-ounce bottles are like $2.
So I said $1.25, and that's like 10 years ago prices, huh? I don't buy them that often.
Yeah. It's like I could buy a 2-liter for 99 cents when I was a kid. What happened to that?
You get RC 3 liters sometimes for like $1.
We've turned into those old people now because when I was a kid, a comic was 12 cents. Strangely, I feel like comics have actually not kept up. Probably because they realize people are only going to pay so much money. No one's going to pay more than $5 for a comic book.
Right, they plateaued at $5.
Well,
thing.
They plateaued at $4, but yeah.
Yeah.
Still expensive, but they were close to $4 20 years ago, I think. They were $2 something.
Yeah, that's probably right. Yeah. None of those drastic jumps where it goes from 10 to 15 cents, 50% increase in price.
They were 75 cents when I started reading.
Yeah, me too.
And then they jumped to $1. It was fucking bastards.
Do you remember how Superman stayed at 75 cents for a long, long time after everything else was $1? Like they put us like a star, and it's like still 75 cents.
It was so sad. It was like pandering or something. Please read this comic.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's what I felt like it was. I don't know if they were it was like a lost leader for them. They knew people were buying Superman, and they just wanted them to buy it, or if it was like, this isn't selling, let's just make it cheaper.
Like a lost leader, they know it's important to their brand to have Superman.
Yeah, like you put it out cheap because it's going to get people to come into the comic shop or something like that.
Right.
But yeah, I don't know. But yeah, when Superman was 75 cents, but everything else was $1 or $1.25, I'm like, you should make Superman cheaper because it sucks.
Or just make Superman better.
Well, yeah. Yeah, there isn't a good reason that DC shouldn't have a really good Superman comic, but they don't.
Get with the program. He needs a trench coat and some stubble on him.
Have him punch Lois Lane once in a while.
Get with the times.
Yeah, and I guess probably the tone of the editor answering this question is probably about like our tone, old guys telling some little kid about inflation.
Well, it is funny just how off he is, though, right? Because, I mean, we're a mere 60 years, 50, 60 years after, and it's way more than he thinks it is, let alone the 30th century.
Yeah, we still got like 950 years to go.
Right.
But I mean, there's probably like a sugar planet that they get a lot of imports from. So maybe there's probably a water planet where they get carbonated water from.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't be surprised if that is the actual price in the 30th century for a bottle of pop, 50 cents.
You mean it's cheaper because of the planet Nestle, where they like killed all the indigenous species and take all their water?
All it is a Nestle factory and carbonated water on this whole planet, and they just export it to Earth, to all the thirsty people on Earth who drink sugar.
So here's a quick, it's a Superman one, but it's Lee Goodman from Kansas City, Missouri, where I'm from, more or less. Dear editor, in the story Clark Kent and Lex Luthor, cellmates, you show Clark Kent walking past the prison's electric eye and being trapped by the alarm because he has a concealed metal saw in his hat. I don't need to read it anymore. I just like the idea. I'm trying to sneak Lex Luthor a saw. It sounds like a good story.
Luthor must have some dirt on Clark Kent.
It's your standard prison caper, sticking the saw into the cake.
He should have brought Lex Luthor a wig that has a saw hidden in it.
Yeah, that's good. I think, didn't he like escape prison with a wig in one of the movies, maybe?
Like using a wig to escape?
Yeah, I think like that one with Kevin Spacey, like they try to work some functionality into him wearing wigs all the time.
Oh, I mean, Gene Hackman had wigs.
Right.
But it wasn't really part of the story at all, just to make him look goofy for costume changes.
The Bryan Singer movie kind of expanded upon that. So he still used the wigs, but he had like different wigs with different lengths of hair, and he'd use them for different purposes, like disguising himself.
Yeah, I don't remember much about that movie at all. Really boring movie.
Yeah, not so great. Though the first few minutes look amazing, but they never finished them and they never put it out. They originally had him going back to Krypton. You seen any of that? It's like on YouTube. It doesn't have the music added and it's all grainy, but he flies his, like, you know, because he's supposed to be like the Christopher Reeve Superman. He takes like one of those crystal ships. The crystal builds all that stuff. He has like a ship like the one he came in, and he goes back to Krypton, and he finds like it's the debris, and he comes into the ruins of a city with a big Superman S on it. It's like on a fragment. It's pretty neat until like the kryptonite poisoning starts killing him or something, and he has to go back to Earth real quick.
Okay, that sounds interesting.
Dear editor, this is from Elise Eisner of Poughkeepsie, New York. I liked your latest Legion story and very, very much, but I was quite disappointed because Mon-El had to go back to the Phantom Zone. I speak for numerous fans when I implore you to cure Mon-El completely so that he can stay out of the Phantom Zone permanently. And the editors say, be patient. Remember, it took a while for Supergirl to prove herself to Superman so that he could trust to reveal her publicly to the world. We promise you that eventually Mon-El will be released permanently from the Phantom Zone someday.
They have important missions for him to perform before he wins his freedom. Like missions of like just watching people out in the real world and tattling on them.
Whatever it was, it probably would have been more interesting than what they did. Like, they never really did exploit it too much. I guess they kind of did in this story, but you'd think maybe he found out some shit going on with the criminals there. They've figured out some way to destroy the universe from there, or he has to go back and I don't know. It seems like there's a lot of story opportunities with the time he spent in the Phantom Zone. Like maybe he knows all kinds of phantoms all over the universe that we've never met before. And
yeah, he ought to know a lot about it. They really did make the Phantom Zone just like it was just an impenetrable, inescapable wasteland.
Mm-hmm.
And they never tried to develop it as like something that maybe somebody could figure out how to escape from it, or there was something going on where they're plotting and planning. It's like, no, once you're in there, you're not getting out unless you're Mon-El. And that's all there is to it. Like, there's nothing else happening. You're just a phantom.
Right. But Jor-El, he discovered it, right? He didn't invent it. Like, there may be like indigenous life forms within the Phantom Zone. I thought I read somewhere, and I think maybe it was just a misinterpretation, or maybe they hadn't worked her origin out completely yet. But I thought I read somewhere that maybe Phantom Girl was from the Phantom Zone.
Oh yeah,
which I know she's not, but
yeah, I think maybe I did hear something about before she was from Big Tizzle. She was that was or maybe that's the Phantom Zone of the 30th century or something. Maybe
Big Tizzle. That sounds like a good planet to go to. Is that where Dolly Parton's from?
No, I'm looking at the Legion handbook again. Yeah, they don't really list it as like in the extraterrestrial bodies section. Doesn't have Phantom Zone.
Oh, the Phantom Zone isn't listed?
No.
But Big Tizzle is?
Yep. Occupies the same space as Earth, but in the 4th dimension is what it says.
Yeah. I love that idea. I guess the 4th dimension doesn't make sense, right?
Not really.
That's like the Legion clubhouse exists in Metropolis in the 4th dimension, right? Is it like time? Isn't time the 4th dimension?
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's in a different time.
Right. It's in the 4th dimension instead of, I don't know. But after a cursory glance, I can't find any information about the Phantom Zone in this handbook. But it's a lot of pages.
Somebody's going to have to remaster it and remaster it and rectify that oversight.
Put in all those planets that have been invented. I think this is a silly explanation. Why don't they just say, yeah, just be patient. We have some other missions, like to equate the Mon-El being trapped in the Phantom Zone forever to Superman not revealing Supergirl to the world for a little while. I don't know. It's kind of weird. It's just a way to sell Supergirl comics. Maybe.
How insensitive. The guy has been patient. He's been sitting there for 1,000 fucking years waiting for Superman to get around to finding a cure for him.
Yeah, I think these editorial answers are just too realistic, you know? It's like Elise Eisner here is legitimately concerned about this character and wants him to be free, you know? And the editor's like, he's just a cartoon character. We'll let him out when we want to. Mm-hmm. Keep your pants on or whatever. You know what I mean?
Right.
And then this kid's like, how come soda pop costs so much? And he's like, well, let me tell you about inflation and the marketplace and stuff like that. And it's like, come on. Why are you such a drag? Why are you such an old man, boring ass drag?
You know, in 2023, comic books will probably cost $1. They still cost $1 where I get them.
That's true. I bought a bunch for quarters today.
Damn, a quarter bin. That's a rarity.
Yeah, I went to the one shop where I bought everything for $1. And then there's another shop across the street that I was like, oh, I'll go check that one out too. And I guess they had some collection. They just bought a Junkola. And the guy was like, they're all four for $1.
There are two shops across the street from one another? This is this weird capitalist shit. Like, where in order to compete properly, these places always cluster together. So like all the Best Buys in Circuit Cities used to always, no matter where you went, they were right across the street from one another.
Yeah, I don't imagine that's what these comic shops are trying to do, but...
Well, that happens a lot.
I don't know how this happened. Like, I don't think it actually makes good sense, really. Mm-hmm. But the one shop only sells back issues. And the other shop has like magic cards and they have, you know, weekly new shit. So I guess it's sort of a different apples and oranges in a way. They're not really competing against one another, but it does seem weird that like the one shop had been there already and then this other one opened up later. Like, but I would, if I owned one of those shops and somebody opened another comic shop right across the street from me, I'd be like, you're trying to take my business away. Maybe. Right. Like, especially in the comic books business.
That happened here. Like, I guess it's been like 20 years. There's Clint's Comics that's been here at least since the 60s. It's like the oldest comic shop in town. And then this guy named Friendly Frank, he's kind of well known for like the comic book legal defense fund started because of a lawsuit filed against him for like sold like a crumb comic or something to a kid. Anyway, he deliberately set up a comic shop directly across the street from Clint's. Clint's guys hated him, and they were run by like really, the guy looked like a crazy Vietnam vet who inherited it from his dad, and like I think he was like vandalizing the other store. It was like really weird.
More like unfriendly Frank.
Right. Friendly Frank. Look him up. Mentioned many times in the Comics Journal.
All right, let's go to this next one. Gary Banks, Lexington, Kentucky. Will we ever see the Legion of Super Pets again? Yes, indeed. And you'll see them in action with the Legion of Superheroes. Mm-hmm. I don't know what the next appearance is of the Legion of Super Pets. I don't remember them actually teaming up with the pets. There's the one where the pets are like kicking the asses of the Legionnaires on the cover. That's somewhat later than this, I think.
What's the one with the brains? The floating alien brains, and that they can control the humans, so all the pets get together. I think that's when they formed.
So that's maybe what this Gary Banks is talking about, that as, you know, we saw him that time. Will we see him again? I don't remember. I don't think I read it.
I don't get you.
I just haven't. It's a blind spot.
You've read these. You just don't remember, right?
Could be. But it sounds like the Legion of Superhero or Legion of Super Pets maybe it's not related to the Legion of Superheroes at this point, right? Is it just like a Superman thing?
No.
They formed in the auspices of Legion of Superheroes comic?
Absolutely.
Huh. Okay.
In the future, everything.
Huh.
Yeah, it's pretty early on. It might have been. It's right around issue 300.
Here we go. Legion of Superhero Pets were united in Adventure 293. Yeah, to fight aliens who had seized mental control of the Legion but had no effect on the minds of the pets. Prody 2 joined the pets in Adventure 322.
Right.
So the next time they form is in next time they show up is 322, which is 18 months after this mail sack. And that's when they haze Prody 2, tell him he's not good enough.
God. Once again. It's the cycle of trauma. It continues.
But they'll be back.
I thought this one was kind of interesting. From Bob Marcus of East Meadow, Long Island. He said, I've dug up some interesting historical facts which pertain to Cosmic Boy and Lightning Lad. Back in 1890, a 16-year-old student of Maryland College by the name of Louis Hamburg had the ability to draw heavy metal objects towards him from the distance of several inches. Also, one Jeannie Morgan of Sedalia, Missouri, actually became a lightning girl in 1890. Is it a 3 or a 5?
I think it's a 5.
It is a 5. Though she could not hurl thunderbolts, her power was strong enough to shock people into consciousness. Who said truth isn't stranger than fiction? They say it's very interesting, but we are skeptical and we need evidence. And they ask that she furnish the exact information so they can evaluate the historical accuracy of these characters.
Did you look them up?
I did not.
I tried to.
I'm sure they exist. They're early Eurogethers, right?
Well, I didn't find any information just like online, just searching for Louis Hamburg.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing about a magnetic Louis Hamburg online.
Right.
But I found...
But that seems like a standard, like when you see films of people who supposedly have supernatural abilities, the guy making something move on the table.
Yeah. And then Jenny Morgan of Sedalia, the Lightning Girl. There was a couple of blog posts, but it all looked like they were sharing the same information. It was all worded the exact same way. It was on 4 different blog posts. And it actually sounded almost like the way this was written about strong enough to shock people into consciousness. I think that was like maybe verbatim in these ones I saw online.
Yeah, especially when she like rubbed her hair or something.
Yeah.
Right.
But the online stuff said that animals were afraid of her and her. Yeah, actually, one did go into more depth. It said that her cat was afraid of her, but she loved the cat, so she was real sad. And then the lightning powers actually went away after she grew up a little bit or something like that. But these blog posts were talking about other electrical people who... like they shock you and they disrupt TVs and computer monitors and stuff like that.
Oh, that's more significant. I was imagining this person, for some reason, just was, it was like static shocks of some kind.
Right, like she walked around the carpet with her socks on.
Right. Exactly.
Like, I bet my brother did that to me, like woke me up and pissed me off by zapping my face or something.
Right.
Yeah, but I don't know. I don't know how real either of these stories are.
Maybe they were from the future.
Could be.
They were hiding out from Mordrew.
Louis Cates, Independence, Missouri. Oh, he's asking about the Bizarro.
Saying he misses the characters, which I do too. I love those strips. And of course, we know that Siegel and Fort it was basically the same team. They just changed the feature. It's funny because tonally they're very different. Like those Fort Bizarros they look like they belong in Mad Magazine, but I guess that shows his versatility. Anyway, the editor said we'll see them soon enough, and so we're going to see a Bizarro Legion of Superheroes soon, which we do.
That was one of the first. I think that was one of the first adventure issues I ever got. Was the Bizarro Legion one?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I don't remember what the story is though. Long time ago since I read it.
What isn't there a future Mixopitalik too?
Yeah, there is a future one.
Like Mixopitalik the Third or something.
Well, there's the one where they Isn't it him and like a Lex Luthor descendant try to join the Legion and they're nice in the future or something like that? Like they're wearing armor? Do you remember this?
They're like disguised. We don't know who they are until the end.
And they're like replacing. Are they trying to replace like Dreamgirl and Starboy or something? I don't remember.
Yeah, it's funny. There's a couple plots like that. The other one, I think, is when Superboy and Supergirl got kicked out, and there was 2 mystery characters that came in to replace them. But I think it turned out to be them, maybe wearing armor.
Okay, yeah.
Do you remember that one? No.
I'm probably mixing them up anyway. Yeah.
No, that sounds right. But we saved the best for last, I think here. Buddy Levine. Is that how you say that?
That's how I would say that.
Levine, Northbrook, Illinois. Dear editor, in a recent issue, Alan Pelcher suggested that you encourage readers to send in bits of Legionnaire business. You responded that you would go along with this idea if someone would define what a bit of LB was to be. Well, how about if a bit of Legionnaire business is a postcard with a few lines suggesting the name of a new superhero to be admitted in the Legion, plus a suggestion of the superpower he might possess. Thus, a bit of LB might be, I suggest a new character, Polar Boy, who has the power of freezing to ice anything in his area. How about it? It's a good example.
In his area.
Yeah. So this guy invents, well, I guess he didn't totally invent bits of Legionnaire business, did he?
He defined what a bit of LB is.
And invented Polar Boy.
Yeah.
Not that they took that suggestion too seriously. So he stuck him on the subs.
Well, yeah.
But
they still took him seriously. They still made him.
Yeah. He's still around. He's even a Legionnaire nowadays. That's funny. They would never take anything like this now, probably, right?
I doubt it. I mean,
I think their lawyers won't let them now. Like you're not supposed to send scripts. People can't read scripts anymore, I don't think, because then if you come up with something similar.
Like if you want to send in some LB, it's got to be on a postcard. But if you want to send in one of these other letters, it has to be, what is that? You have to type that and put it on a piece of paper, fold it up in an envelope. But what about these short letters that are like, you know, how come Soda Pop's so expensive? You could put that on a postcard, but that's not LB, or that's not a bit of LB.
What LB really comes to be, right, is just like short little abbreviated bits, right? Maybe the bulk of the letter was rambling, but they had one good question in it. They print that one and say, Jim from Florida asks.
Yeah, that's what they are. I like the abbreviation of LB. I like bits of LB.
I like LB.
After I turn off this video, I'm going to go get a bit of LB. I don't know what it
I don't need to hear about what you and your wife do. Overshare.
Look, we all need some bits of LB.
Don't need to hear about your bits.
That's it. That's the whole letters page.
That's a wrap. I think that was one of the more substantive ones.
It was a pretty good one.
And the print was big and it was short, but almost all of them were pertinent.
Like the price of 30th Century Soda Pop.
I felt like there was something interesting to talk about in all of them, except maybe the bizarre one.
Right. And the Super Pets one. Kind of pointless.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah, but pretty good letters page.
Yeah. Keep them coming, fans.
That was the letters Smallville Mail Sack Adventure Comics 304. See you in 30 days, Legionnaires.
Bye-bye, everybody. Bye-bye. Isn't that what Conan always says?
I don't know. Does he say that?
Yeah.
Conan the Barbarian says that?
Yeah.